Welcome to JavaJSON, and in this video we are going to talk about generic using in the collection. So basically generic is very important, okay, and while learning a generic, whatever the topics I have covered as of now, if you practice, that is the basic things. But if you want to learn a advanced concept of the generics, that is very useful. Okay, so let's start with the generics. So generics are the powerful features in Java that allow you to create, okay, classes or methods or interface, whatever, to operate on the different data type. Okay, so it means if you are creating any class and if you want to make those class as a generic, if you want to create any method and you have to make those method to support as a generic, okay, then you can take the help of the generic and you can design your class like that, so that you can pass anything, any data that is possible. Okay, that is the powerful of the generics. Okay, and generics is giving the guarantee of the type safety. Okay, so that is also very important concept. Okay, when combined with the collections, generics enable you to create a more flexible and type safe data structures. That is also very important concept. So whenever interviewer asks you what is the benefits of the generics using collections, so you can see, while we can tell to him, like, while using a generics, we can make it as a flexible of the class or flexible of the method, and also it will give the type safety of guarantee of the data structures. Okay, let us explore some advanced concept related to the generics and collection in Java. Okay, so if you see here, what is the naming convention? So whenever you see in the generics, some places you can see like T, some places you can see E, some places you can see K, some places V, some places what. Okay, so this is the coming into the advanced concept only, and we are going to know like why we are giving the T, E, K, V and question mark. What is the reason of it? What is the angular bracket? Why we are giving all those things? We are going to discuss in this video. So in the Java, generic type parameters are often used to create a classes, okay, interfaces, methods that can work with the different data types while maintaining a type safety. Okay, when naming generic type parameters, there are certain convention you can say, and best practice to follow the clarity and readability. Here, common naming convention used for the generic type parameter in Java is T. So for the parameter we are using T. So T will represent as a parameter, as a placeholder of the actual type that will provide the when an instance of the class is created or a method is invoked. Correct? You can use any valid identifier in the place of the T. Anything. You can't even use the T only. You can use S, you can use your name, you can use your P, anything. But the standard naming convention, they are provided like a T, E. Okay? Using the single upper and make sure it's a uppercase letters like a T, E, K, V, etc. is a common convention. So they are using the T for the type of parameters, E they are using for the type of element, and K they are using for the key, and B they are using for the value. And what is generic type? It means anything that will support value. Okay, if you see, I have created one class, public class pair, and there we are passing a key and value. Okay, here you can pass something else also, that is fine. Okay, and if you see here, I'm going to the Eclipse and I'm writing one class here. For example, I have a one class called bank. Okay, and normally I have created the bank. That is also possible. But if you want to make bank as a Prince type, possible, no issue. So instance of Prince type, their standard flowing is like T, which is parameters. Okay, if you want to give your name Deepak, you can give, no issue. You can make this as a data type here, Deepak, and you can create an object. You can store a value also here. Okay, and this Deepak is a one name. It's not anything. Okay, I have given, it's my choice, anything I will give. This is the value. Okay, and I'm going to make one constructor which is public bank. Okay, and bank will take the parameter called Deepak as a parameter, and Deepak they will take D. Okay, and here I can write this dot value equal to D. Correct? If I want to read this value, I can write publics get value. Okay, but here we have to write the return type. So return type is what? Deepak. Okay, because we are turning a Deepak only, and this will return this dot value. So value is what type? Deepak type. Okay, I have created the simple classes for your understanding. Okay, so that you can understand. And I want to test this class like it's working fine or not. So what can I give? I can create one bank object. Okay, and bank will ask what are the parameters you are asking. So if I not give any parameters and I have written b equal to new bank, okay, that time they will ask some of the data. So maybe I have provided a string or something like hello. That is also fine, no issue. That is also fine, no issue. And you can print it also. If you want to print s out, just write s out. Okay, let me write main method first. Okay, so inside the main method only we have to do anything. So this is the main method, or inside the main method what we can do? We can create one object which is hello. Okay, and I can print those object directly with the help of the sout b dot get value. Okay, and it will give me the value also, and I am able to print it also. Might be you are getting confusions, but I will clear, no issue. Okay, if you see here, it's printing hello, no issue, right? It's printed hello. Right? Let me minimize it. Okay, let's go down. Okay, so we are getting output as a hello, no issue, correct? So here if you see what I have done, I have just created one bank type of class, and those I have specified as a Deepak. If your requirement you can specify, but naming convention, as a naming convention we have learned here. For the type of the parameter we are using the T, for type of the element we are using the E, for the key and value we can use K or V, for the generic we can use generic, like that they are saying, correct? So here if you want to use T, so generally if you see every places you have to replace Deepak with T, your problem is resolved. Okay, that's it. Okay, same thing. So that is the powerful of the generics. So right now what I have sent one string value which is hello, and it's printed also. Okay, it's printed also hello. Okay, let me print it again. So if you see, it's printed hello. If I do one more things, if I pass here not a string, if I pass something else, maybe the one value, what will happen? Any issue? No issue, it will print my value, because this is the generic type class I have created. So whatever I will pass here, it will accept, no issue in that case. Okay, if you want to create, okay, something like bank object, okay, bank object, and if I want to specify the type, like what type is bank, so bank maybe we are creating one integer type, okay, and we have to pass the integer. So you can say bank equal to new bank. If you see, it's look like you are creating an object and we are passing the strings here. Okay, and you have to specify here integers, but we are able to pass here T also. Okay, and if you specify here also for the constructor which is integer, then you can't pass this value. Here we have to pass integer value only. Okay, so this one, after the equal operator, whatever the bank object we are creating, here will specify what type of constructor, this one. Okay, and this one will specify what type of the value they will store. Okay, understood? Okay, so this is the one example I have given related to the bank, but I don't want to give this example and everything. What I'm going to do is, okay, I'm going to create one class, okay, and I will give the name called generic test. Okay, and inside the generic test I'm going to explain you some simple things, okay, so that you can understood. So if I create any object like a string, okay, and this should be a array, equal to new string and the size is called 3. Correct? So this is the one string array I have created, and I am easily store the array inside this hello. So this is the string array type. So in the 0 place I will store hello, right? And array of 1 positions or 2 positions I can easily store hi, right? I have missed 1 positions, and I can easily print this string also. I don't have any issue. Okay, and when I print it I can get the value also, right? Let me show you what is the value. So this is giving some array value which is hash code value, but we don't want hash code, we have to print array value. So we can take the help of the arrays class, okay, which is java.util arrays.toString, and here we can pass our array. So this will print our array basically, right? Hello, null or hi, right? That is a correct. But if I create any list, okay, and I will write list equal to new list, right? And if I create I will not create an object of the list. So what we can do, we can create array list, okay, array list object. So array list, I don't want to give any type, a equal to new array list, okay. So if you see here, this is only able to store the what type, string type of the data, and this one is able to store any type of the data. Let me add some data. So a dot add hello. First I have added the string, second I will add some value, right? I am able to add it, no issue, and I will able to print it also, okay. And if I print a, it will give me the output also. Let me print and I will show you what is the output. So hello and 2 3, correct. So this is the type safety, okay. This is a type safe. If you store here any other value, for example this is the string, and I am going to store array of 1 position, some another value 2 1, it will give error, compile time error, okay. It's a type safe of a string only. So it will store only a string, you can't store any other value, okay. But here this is not type safe, okay. It will store any value, correct. Let me open the array list class and I will show you how they have written this array list class. So if you see here, they have written array list of e type, extending the abstract list and implementing the list, random access, clonables, serializables, okay, and through that they are storing the data, okay. So this list is able to store the all kinds of the data, okay, because this is the e type, okay. And once you specify, because we are not specifying any type safety, okay, we have not specified here any type safe, but by default the type safe is what, object type, right? By default type safe is what, object type. But if I change this one to what, a string, then it will give error, like you can't store now this value, because now it's become a type safe and it will not store your integer value, okay. So this is the problems. So this one is called a type safe, which is giving inside the angle bracket, which I have already explained in the details, which is the last video, okay. But in this video, this is the basic things which I have already explained. And object is a what, parents of any of the classes, and they are capable to store anything, any data, okay. So that will not provide the type safety, and type cast we have to do our own, okay. So that will creating some problems at the end, okay. So what will happen, for example this one we have created this type, and these are able to store only integers, right? If you pass here any string value, it will not work, okay. Hello, right? But if I pass here, I will make it like, if I remove it also, it will work. That is the one thing. It means this is a not type safe, and later I have to do typecast. Okay, and if I give here object also, that is also not a type safe. It will give later. We have to cast our object based on the corresponding integer or a string, whatever. Okay, so that is not a type safe. So based on our own requirement, we can decide what parameters we have to store inside this, and once you make it, later we can't store those other value. Okay, I hope you understood how we are giving the naming convention, and what is the type safe, what is the typecasting, and what is the object, how object is a parent of any classes, he is capable to store any of the object. Okay, so while making our class as a generic, okay, as a runtime, we have make our class, this is the generic, and this is the runtime. You can decide your own what type of the data you have to pass to this particular class. Okay, I hope you understood. Okay guys, okay, now this is the one things. Okay, let's go forward and try to understand something more. And this is the something like generic class and interface. So you can create your own generic class and interface. Here the example, generic class. Okay, so this is the generic class. Okay, we have created just before. Okay, in the same way we can create your generic class, generic interface also, no issue. If you want to create any interface like that, you can create. You can just write interface name, for example bank account, and here you have to pass what are the parameters you have decided, and you can create your interface also like that. Okay, with the based on the parameters, and this is the naming convention only. We have given the T. Here you can give an S also, you can give anything. I have seen so many people are getting confused why they are giving the T, why they are giving the E, why they are giving the key V, why they are giving the question marks, lots of the questions. Okay, but you don't want to raise those questions, so for that I am giving the example to different. You can give anything. Okay, I hope you understood. Okay, this is the one things. Now I am going to create our own custom map class. Okay, for example, if you see this example here, pair, so we are passing here key and one is value, and we are making this generic as a generic class which is map. Okay, and k is value, and k is key, and v is a value, and we are storing it. So if interviewer asks you, hey, can you write a code to create your own map class? So how we can write it? Okay, do you have any idea? I'm going to show you how you can write your own map class. Okay, with the help of generic. Okay, so let me write one class. Okay, map test, and this is the map test class, and inside this class I'm going to write main methods, and here I will create one entity class. Why entity class? Because in the entity we can store key and value. So simply we can create one class which is entity. Okay, and this entity will take two parameters, one is key and other is value, because in the map we are storing two value, key and value pairs. Okay, here we can create two variables, one is k type which is key, and other variables I will create which is v which is value, right? I will create one constructor. So constructor we can create like public, okay, and entity, and inside this we can write k is key, comma, and v is value. We are representing, you can give anything, not this is the k and v, you can give here Ram or Syam also. Here you can give Sita and Geeta also, anything. That is the only type representations. For the naming convention I am giving the key and value so that you can understand in the better way. Okay, and here what we can write is, we can write this dot key equal to key, this dot value equal to value, right? Now I want setter and getter method. Like in the map we can get the value, we can set the value. So for that I want setter method or getter method, so I can easily generate it. But I don't want set value. set key, because we are not providing the access to set the key someone. We can just provide the get the key and get the value and set the value, but you can't get the key and set. We can get the key, but we can't set the key. That is the things we have to hide from the users to set it. Okay, and one more things I will create here, which is toString. With the help of the toString, later we can display our data in the proper format, right? So for that I have written one toString. Understood? We have created one entity class having a key and value. One key is key and value private we have created. We have created one public constructor to creating an object of the entry, and we have provided the get key, okay, and get value and set value only. We have not provided the set key, okay, and this is the toString method as of now done. Okay, so this is the entry. Now I'm going to create one more class which is custom map, our own custom map. So we can write custom map, and this map also take two value, because while storing a value we have to pass key and value. So we can write k or we can write v, okay, key and value pairs. Okay, and here what I'm going to do is inside this custom map I will create one list which is private list, and the list will store one entity. Okay, so first we have to import the list, and list having an entity will represent key and value. Okay, because we are making it generic, anything you can send it will store and we can proceed it. Okay, and here we can give entity. Okay, entity, ENTITY, entities. Okay, entity only. Okay, so this is the one variables we have created internally inside the custom map, and what we have stored, we have stored list of the entry. Entry is nothing but map. Okay, here I will provide one public constructor which is custom map, and custom map will, whenever you create a custom map, that time it will initialize the value of entity, okay, with the new array list. Okay, because we are storing all the value inside the array list only. Done. Okay, now what we can do, we can create the custom map some method. So map having a some method like get, put, post, not post, we have a remove. Okay, lots of the method. So let's design put. We have to put data first. Okay, so we can design one method called publics void put, and put will take two parameters. One is key type, that is called key, and one is value type, that is called value. Okay, understood how I am designing the class of the custom map? Okay, and here what we can do is we have a list of the entry. Okay, so through that entry what we can do is we can write one for loop, and we can see here entry, okay, entry and entity. Okay, entity, if you already have this, the key, whatever the key I have passed. Okay, so e dot get key dot equals of given key. If it is already equals, what you have to do is you have to just update the object. So e dot set value and pass the value, and then after write the return methods, just return it from that. Okay, and once if it is already key is matched and which is available inside our list, you just have to update the value. If it is not, at the last of the for loop iterations, what you can do is we can add those new entry in the list. So what we can do? we can write entry dot add, and inside the add we can write new entry object. We can create new entry object, and we can pass the key and value, and we can store it. That's it. If new key, if exist, update value only. Okay, so this is the logic you have to write in your code for the put methods. Correct? Okay, now we have to write a logic for the get method. So how can write? So we can write public. So what you have to get? We have to get value. So we can give the type as a v get, and here you can take one key, which is key type. Okay, and once user given the key, what we can do? Same logic you can write. We can iterate one loop. I'm going to copy and paste here. And while iterating a key, if it is match, what we can do? We can just return it value. So what we can do? We can write return, okay, and e dot get value, because we have to return the value only, no? Okay. I add typecast to v, and finally once loop is done, if it is not matched, then we can return null value. Correct? So this is the logic you have to write for the get methods. Okay guys, I hope you understood what I'm writing, and only I am trying to tell you like what is the use of key and value. At the end you can understood. Okay, so our custom map is ready. What I'm going to do is I'm going to test it. So I'm going to create one custom object, custom map, and this map will take anything right now, but we have to give key value. So I'm going to represent key as a integer and value as a string. Okay, and this is the map 1. I will write new custom map. Okay, and our map is ready. If you want to give here generic also, you can give. If it is not, fine. Okay, so this is the map 1. If you want to put any data, you can write map1 dot put, and inside the put you can pass key as a 101, and value is something like Rohit. If you want to pass some more value, you can pass it, no issue. Okay, and I have given 2, 3, debug. Okay, 3 value I have put it. But one more things, if you have not given any to string inside the custom map class, so might be they will not print proper data. Okay, so what you have to do is you have to create one to string. Okay, and you have to print the data, select it and generate it to a string also. So what will happen whenever you run this code, you can see proper output. So to a string, you don't want to forget it. Okay, so I need to print, guys. If I not print, how can I see the output? So I have to write sout or map1. Okay, so with the same class I am able to pass key value pair anything. Let me show you. Here I have passed custom map. Inside the entry first entry is key 101, value is Rohit, entry 2, 102 Ajay, key 3, and value is Deepak. Like that I have stored the data. So this is the one benefit, we can pass dynamically anything. So let me remove. Now I want to pass some object, no issue, you can create some other object and you can pass it here also. Okay, for example, this is the map 2. Okay, and here I need only integer and integers, so I can use it, no issue in that. And here I can pass 10 something, here I can pass something, but make sure this should be 2, this should be 2, this should be 2, and here also we have to remove a string. So that is the power of type safety. And if I print once again, you can see all those data. Okay, you can see all those data here, right? Key, value, everything. Okay, so this is, we have created our own hash map, or you can see custom map we have created our own. If you want to send object type data, you can create a class and you can make it, this is the integer or this is the class, anything that is possible. But only I am making it type safety. Okay, so that once you make it this map as a integer or a string, then after you can pass here only integer and a string. If you try to pass here any other instead of the string, if you pass any integer, it will not accept. That is the type safety. Okay, that is the type safety, and that is the power of generic, guys. Okay, I hope you understood. We can discuss some more part. Now I hope you understood the generic class and interface. Now we can discuss what is the generic methods. Okay, so generic class we have discussed with the example of the hash map. Okay, we can create it our own hash map. Okay, and we can create it and we can use it. Okay, it's very simple. Okay, and this is example of the bank, which is a hash map. Now we can talk about generic method, and generic method is also very important. We can create method with their own generic types. Okay, and this will return the element type, what element type is it, and how we can return it. Everything we are going to discuss in this video. Okay, but while discussing a generic method, I have some questions with you. So with the problems or questions, we can try to understand what is the use of generic. Okay, and what is the use of generic methods. Okay, let us go and create one class called, I'm going to create one class. The class name is, I will give print details. Okay, this is my class name. Okay, and this class having a one method called print. Okay, and the print method will print anything, whatever you give, right? So for example, I have a method called print data. So I have a one method called public. Okay, but do one thing. This is the class. Okay, paste method generic, I will give the name, and I will create one more class. Okay, those class name is print details, and this method will contain the main method, so through that we can test our class methods, and this class will take care of those methods. Okay, so here I am going to create one method called public and print data, and this method will take one parameter which is a string type. Okay, a string array, and it will take some value. Okay, and based on those value it will print all those data inside this. So we can use here for each method. It's very popular right now. So what we can do, we can write here a string as colon. Okay, and we can write here what value, and it will give one by one every value, and what we can do is we can print it, right? So here we can print this, but method should have a return type which is void. So we have given our method is ready, correct? Our method is ready, but while testing this method, I want to print any data. I want to print any type of the data I can send, and I can print it. Okay, so what we can do is I can create first, or maybe this is the static. Let me make it a static, and if it is a statics, we can call this method with the help of the class name. So we have a print details dot print data, and inside the print data we can pass one array. Okay, but let me declare the array first. So for example, I have a array called string. Okay, a country, I have a list of the country array, and here I have mentioned the country called India. Okay, second is US, third is Japan. Okay, so this is the three country I have mentioned here. Okay, and I'm going to pass this country here, and I will print all those data here, correct? Let me run. So once I run this, you can see the output. Okay, India, US, Japan. But same thing, I don't want to change my print details class methods, and I want to print anything I can pass, and I'm trying to print it. So for example, right now I'm going to send one int array. Okay, ARR, and here I'm going to pass something called 100, 200, 300. Okay, and I'm expecting here to pass, once I will pass the array, it will print it. But what it will say, it's giving me the error, compile time error. So what I will do, maybe someone suggests like, hey, you can this is the one problem, right? So this is the one problems, and someone say like, hey, you don't want to disturb this method. So what you can do is you can copy this method, and you can again paste it Okay, and you can create parameter with int, right? And those value you can store inside the int, or you can print it. That is the solutions. Correct, right? No issue. But if I do it, you can see here it's printed the data, no issue, 100 also. If I want to send some more, maybe the double, maybe the character, maybe the boolean, then for that I have to create for every data type separate methods. But that is not a correct way. So what we can do, I don't want to do like that. So someone suggests like, okay, fine. So here you can make it object. Okay, here also you can make it object, and whatever data you send it here, it will take and it will print it. Okay, print data. Okay, and this will take as a object array, and this object array they will take and they will store it. Correct? Let me save once. But object is a parent, but not for the, why this sign? The method print data object array, the print data is not capable of the argument of the int array. Okay, so I will give him a integer which is as a object. Okay, now he is easily catch your data and then he will print it. There is no issue. Okay, and no problem also. It will print it also without changing the method. But in the some of the case I need this data to use. So that time I have to do the typecasting from object to integer, integer to object. So that is not a correct way to do it, right? So that time we can face lots of the issue. So what we can write here, if you go with object, then typecasting is required, right? But we are, every developer are try to avoid the typecasting. They don't want to do typecasting. Okay, they don't want to do typecasting. So that is the problem while going with the object. So what we can do, what is the solutions? So solution is generic type. Generic type will give the type safety. Okay, and it will also be have like a object class only. So what we can do, we can give here E. What is E? E is a element type. What is E? E is a element type. And here also we can give E. Okay, here also we can give. Even you are giving the void, one more return type which is the element type you have to give for the future. If it is void, that is fine. If you are returning any value, it will return also. No issue in that in this method. And whatever the value you are reading here, you can read inside the E. And through the E, you can print all those things, whatever you want to print. I hope you understood, guys. Everything, same thing output, no issue. If you want to add here one more, let's say Pakistan. And if you want to print it, it will work. They will not throw any exception because of the Pakistan. Okay, right? So this is called a generic method we have created. And based on this method, we can pass anything and we can use it, and it is also a type set. There is no required of anything to typecast here. Okay, so that is the one solution, and that is called a generic. Okay, why so many people are getting confused, like why void and why this one also? So while going your work with the generic, which is element type, and also one more confusion, even you can give here anything, G also, you can give here G also, no issue. You can give here G also, no issue. Okay, so this is the generic type. Even you can give E, G, anything, that is possible, but make sure give the naming convention so that other people also understood your code and they will write a code based on this requirement. So if you are writing any method like that, it means this method will take anything. It's a generic method. Okay, lots of the methods like that are available in our code, right guys? Yeah, I hope you understood. So this is the problem, and that solution we have given with the help of the generic. Okay, now if you pass anything, maybe the object or maybe the any class, a student, account, anything, it will print the data. No doubt in that. Okay, okay guys, so let us go to our slide. And I hope you understood this method, what is the use of it, and how we are printing all those data, and how it will work. So that is called a generic method. You can create your own generic method, and you can use it, and you can enjoy also. Okay. If you want to create any generic method based on the class also, you can create, no issue. Maybe the T or G, whatever you want to create here. So based on the class level, you can also create, which is giving the different name also, and also the same name. So method having a different, but class having a other, that is also possible, no issue in that. Okay, so you have to think like when I can give which name, and what is the naming convention, when is required or not required. So it's your choice basically. Okay, so we understood how to define our generic class or interface, how to define our generic method also. Okay, and now we can discuss one of the very important topics, which is bounded type parameter. So you can restrict the type that can be used as a type argument by using the bounded type parameters. For example, public class number box, and they having a type called T, and they are extending the numbers. So what is the meaning of it? T extend numbers. That is the simple meaning is the T, whatever the parameters we are going to use, those should be only a subtype of this number. Okay, whatever you can pass here, those are only and only subtype of number. You can't pass apart from number implemented class. If you pass anything else which is not implementing those class number, it will throw exception. Simple word I am going to tell you. Let's take this example only. For example, we have to print some number. Okay, and same class we have. So I'm going to create one class. Let's see the example. Okay, so we have a one class called test number. Okay, and this containing one main methods. Okay, and I'm going to create one more class called print data, and the print data will take a generic as a type T, and it extends the number. Extend numbers means whatever the type you are going to give this class, it should implement the numbers. If it is not, we can't store it. Okay, let me open it. So this is the class we have created with the print data, and this print data having a one constructor. Okay, so let me create one private T, and this will call value. Okay, and I'm going to create one constructor also, so print data, and this is a one constructor. So what I'm going to do is it will take one type, okay, which is T type, and this is the value only. Okay, and here what we can do is we can write this dot value equal to value. Okay, and now I'm going to write one public, okay, void print data, and print data method will also take any type of T, which is value. Okay, and they will take lots of the areas. So having a lots of the areas, then it will take T, okay, which is a small t, and we can write value here, and those value we can pass here. Okay, nice, and we can print it also. Let me wait. I hope you are going to say like what you are creating, guys, but that is important. That is important. You have to try to understand. Okay, so this is the print data method I have created, and we are extending in numbers only. Okay, so if I create any class, okay, maybe the print data object, and print data will take what? By default number type. How? Because the parent is number only. So if I write like print data p equal to p1 equal to new print data, what we can do is we have created the print data class. Okay, and inside the print data class we can create an object for that, and once we create the object, what we can do here, okay, what we can do is, like, we have removed already this one, okay, which is constructor not required. And here if you see, I have given the type as a integer. So this is the integer type I have specified. So integer is internally extended the number class. I will show you. Okay, integer is already extended the number class here. Then only it will work, otherwise it will not work. If you give some other classes here, maybe you can give some other let me give some string class. Okay, so a string is just some different class only, so it will not take here. So it means that we have specified here in the print data, hey, this type is only extendable which is number only. So whatever the classes which is extending the number or implementing the number, those only it will support. It will not support, it will, it means it will only support, it will only support number sub class. Okay, clear? And if you write here super, I will explain those also. Super of number. Okay, okay, let it be extends only. So extend only, so it will only subclass of number which is t. Okay, then only it will support. You can't give here a string. Okay, if you give double, it will support, no issue. If you give boolean, let's see, boolean will not support because boolean is not implemented the number class here. Okay, I hope guys you are getting my point. Okay, so the type is only, so this is called a bounded type, which is defining some range. Like your type is only less than number, the class which is extending the numbers or implementing the numbers, only those class will support here. Apart from any class if you give, it will not support while creating object. Okay, so here you can pass integer, you can pass number also, no issue, right? Number will also support. But if you specify by the way, like, no, I have to store the integers, and later if you try with the p1 dot print data, and you can try to pass here, maybe you have created one integer object, okay, array, and you have a specify some element, for example 100, 200, 300, and you want to print it. So what you can do, you can pass here, which is array, and if you run this class, it will easily print it. What it will print? 100, 200, 300, correct? But if you see here, your type is what? Integer. And again, if you try to change it, and if you try to pass here some other type, maybe not integer, you are decided to pass here double, okay, and maybe the array 2, and here you can give some 0.3, 0.5, point something, and if you pass here array 2, it will not support because you have specified p1 as a integer only, so it's a typecast with the integer. If you pass here double, so it will support only double, it will not support the integer. But if you pass here number, okay, then it will support both. Okay, but make sure you can't pass here object type, because object type is a super type of number, so you can't give here object type. You can't give here the type which is greater than number, or maybe they are not implementing the number class. Okay, so that will not support here. Okay, so that is called a typecasting or generic or bounded typecasting, you can see. Okay, I hope guys you understood, and if I show you the output, let me run, it will print both. Okay, both the data it will print it. Let's go to our slide and let us discuss. This is the bounded type parameter. So bounded means this is the type which is bounded with the number. It means the whatever the type you are going to pass here which is less than numbers, or maybe this type will implemented the number class. That's it only. Here t must be a subtype of number. You can see here t must be a subtype of number, otherwise it will not work. This is the very important part of the generic, which is wildcard generics. What is the wildcard generics? So wildcard generics is a Java denoted by the question mark symbols. If you see here, okay, this question mark symbols, and this is introduced by the wildcard generics. Symbols allow you to create a more flexible and reusable methods and classes that can work with the different types. Wildcard generics are the often used in the scenario where you want to accept or print data of unknown type, okay, without committing to the specific type. Okay, that is called a wildcard generics. Wildcard allow you to work with the unknown type data. There are three types of the wildcard. First is unbounded wildcard, second one is upper bounded wildcard, and third one is lower bounded wildcard. Okay, so this wildcard we have just discussed it, okay, which is upper bounded wildcard. Okay, but now again we can discuss these three types of the wildcard: unbounded wildcard, upper bounded wildcard, lower bounded wildcard, and we can discuss in the depth. So there are three types of the wildcard generics: unbounded wildcard, upper bounded wildcard, lower bounded wildcard. If you see here, the syntax is like that: list question marks wildcard and unbounded wildcard, list questions mark extend number, that is called upper bounded wildcard, and this is the list question mark super and integer, that is called a lower bounded wildcard. Let's see one example regarding that so that we can understand in the better way. So this is the example of the unbounded wildcard, that is the question mark. A unbounded wildcard allow any type to be used as the argument type. It's mainly used when you want to work with the collection without knowing its exact type. So if you see here, we have one method called print list, and this list will take one data, but we don't know what type of the data here it will come, okay, and we have to print those data. Okay, so what we can do, we can pass a integer, or you can pass a string, or whatever you have a data, you can pass it, it will work here. So what I'm going to do is, we have some data called print list of the integers, or it will print. Okay, so basically I'm going, okay, to our Eclipse, and I will write a code for that basically. Okay, so I'm going to create one more class, okay, and I will give the class name as a what, unbounded wildcard. This is the one test case we can write. Okay, and inside this I'm going to create one methods. Okay, but let me show you like how I'm going to create like that method void list, which is wildcard. So without knowing a type of what list will come, we are able to print this data. So what we can do is, we can go to the here, and here I'm going to create one method which is called publics void print data, and this method will take one list, and this list don't know what type of the data will come. So we have to specify here questions marks, and we can say list will come, and after that what we have done here is, we are going to print those data. So we can use the for each loop, and we have a list. Okay, but in the list what it will come, we don't know. Okay, so how we can print, we can specify here object. So by default any object will come, by default any data will come, we can assume as a object obj, and we can give here list, and then after we can write s out. Okay, and we can print those object easily. Now if you create here main method, and if you try to test it, okay, simply what we can do, we can create one list, okay, which is going to accept the integers, and here we can create one list 1 and new array list. Otherwise you can write directly list dot of method we can use, and here we can pass some value which is integer type 1, 2, 3, 4. That's it. Okay, and I will try to print it. So I can call list. Okay, I can call this method which is unbounded, but for that we have to create an object. So what I can do is, I can make this method as static, so directly we can call it. So let me write a statics methods, and here in the same class, so we can directly call print data method, and we can pass our list to 1. So what will happen? this list will pass and those lists will display in the console. I will show you, right? This list is passed and this value is displayed on the console. You are able to see, right? Okay, now if later I am trying to print some of the different value, maybe I want to print a string also. So what I can do, I have to change here as a string. This is the unbounded wildcard we can say, and we can give the name called 2. Here we can give also name called 2, but here we have to pass the string data, maybe the language Java, maybe the language Python. Okay, whatever remaining you want to print, you can print it here. I'm going to give one more, which is PHP. That's it. Let me run this code. So if I run this code, you can see the output. Okay, so what is the output? You can see here 1 2 3 4 Java, Python, PHP. So any data you can pass and you can display it. Okay, so this is the generic type of the method, but because of this questions mark, we have made it wildcard, unbounded methods. Okay, if you see here, this is called unbounded wildcard methods. Okay, understood? If you want to give a type also, so you can give type also, no issue, but make sure this method will return those type. Okay, and here we have to specify, okay, this is the this type and this will take. Okay, so we can specify like that, like this is the T and this should be also a T inside this object. Okay, T type, and this is the object of the list, and we can display. Okay, so like that we also can do with the typecasting, but this is the generic only. First of all, PHP, it will work. Okay, so this is the unbounded wildcard. Okay, I hope you understood. And we are passing unknown argument here. Let's see upper bounded wildcard. If you talk about the upper bounded wildcard, so here we are giving the question mark and extent of the T. So an upper bounded wildcard allow you to specify that the argument type must be the subtype of the certain classes. Okay, so an upper bounded wildcard allow you to specify that the argument must be a subtype of the certain classes. So whatever the here we can give, those whatever you have passed here, it should be a subtype. Okay, and it will not some other things. If you give some other things, it will give the error basically. Okay, so what we can do is, this is the public's double and bounded wildcard. Okay, so we can specify. Okay, so this is the we can create one method and we can test this thing also, because we have already talked about the classes. Let's see with the method. So we have a one method called public double sum, and we are whatever the list you are passing, we are doing a sum and we are storing inside this and we are returning it back. Okay, so let's create this method, which is sum. Okay, so it will do the sum of any type of the object. So what I'm going to do is, here I'm going to create, so this is called a unbounded wildcard. Okay, now we are going to create one method which is upper what is called upper bounded. Upper limit we can give, so upper bounded wildcard. Okay, let's create this method. So we have a method called public, and let's give the method name called return type is statics also. No, we can specify as a statics, and return type is double or number, anything we can give. You can see here we have given the double, so let's see double, and the method name is sum. And inside this method name, what we can pass, they will pass list, but list is, we don't know what list they will pass, but we know it will extend table of number class only. Okay, and if it is number class, those list. Okay, what we have to do, we have to print those data basically. Okay, so how we can print those list of the data, or we can add those data also. So we have this list, okay, which is generic type. Okay, and there's in the add the return statement, so we can add here return null, not null, something double value, so 2.3. Okay, and what we can do is here we can write one for each loop, and we can iterate all those data from the list, okay, whatever the data, and make sure it's a object type only. Okay, so obj we can write, and this is the list. So from the list we can take, and we have to create here one double sum equal to 0, and here we can write sum equal to sum plus what, obj, right? So object plus obj, what will happen? We have to do the typecast here. Okay, typecast is required. If you not do typecast, it will not work. So we are converting into the double, and then we can store it. If you see the slide also, they are converting it. Okay, number dot double value. Okay, so total equal to total plus number dot double value. Through that they are storing it basically. Okay, they are calling one method called double value. They are converting it. Okay, fine. But the problem is we are taking as a numbers. Okay, so here the upper bounded we have taken object, because of that we are casting. Okay, so what we can do here, if you not give numbers here, if you give, it's a number type only. Okay, and here if you specify dot double value, so number having a method called double value, through that you can convert it. Okay, and finally once sum is calculated, you can return the sum, correct? And what we can do is, if you create any object, for example, I don't want to call this method, I don't want to call this methods, okay, I don't want output for that, but I want to use this one, I want to use this one. So what we can do, we can call the sum method, and in the sum I will pass list one. Okay, let's see what is the output. Okay, so it's returned the double output. So if I print it, you can see sum is what? Okay, 10.0, 1 2 3 4. So 4 3 7 7 2 9 9 plus 1, those value. If you want to pass any double value, so you can create one list. Okay, and those list will contain double value. So double, and here you can write list 2 or list 3 equal to list dot of method we can use, and here we can write 100.6 300.5. we have ready for the list. We can call it, where we can call s out directly, and we can call like sum, and while calling a sum method we can pass our list 3, so it will display also. Okay, let me run. So once I run it, you can see the output 401.1, correct? So I hope you understood. This is the unbounded upper bounded wildcard. Okay, upper bounded wildcard means we are specifying here, hey, this is the list, that is fine, but this type, whatever we are sending, maybe the integer, maybe the double, maybe the short, byte, long, whatever, those only implementations of number. If you pass here any object list, that will not work. If you pass here, if you pass object type, it will not work. Why? Because object is not a subtype of number. Object is not a subtype of number. Let me create. So I'm going to create one list which is containing the object type data, and those list name is called 4, and here I will just specify the list data, list dot of method, and here I will give some 2 3 4. Okay, and here I am going to call the same method s out sum, but I will pass here list 4. So it will directly throw the exceptions like a sum will not support which type. Sum is only support the number type. You are sending what type? Which is object type. So here only we have given the upper limit. So this is called a upper limit. You can't give more than that. Okay, so object will not support if you pass here, because object is a super class of number, so it will not support. Only you have to pass the implemented class of number only. Okay, got it? Yeah. So this is the basically things I have to explain. Okay, I hope you understood. Now we are going to understood what is the lower bounded wildcard. Okay, let's go to the slide and understood this the third point, which is lower bounded wildcard. In the lower bounded, we are using the question marks with super symbol, super keyword. Okay, a lower bounded wildcard allow you to specify that the argument type must be a super type of certain class. Super type of certain class. For example, you have a one public void and numbers, and you have a specify like this will take the numbers, but whatever the numbers they will take, that is the greater than integer. So you can't pass here any sort or any lower of the integers, which is implementing the integer type. Okay, let me explain you. So what I'm going to do is, if you call here, if you have a number and you have created the number list and you have created one object list, and if you are trying to pass here, you can pass easily, but less than number you can pass. More than integer you can pass all those data, but less than integer you can't pass. Okay, so let me create one method which is add numbers. Okay, otherwise some numbers same thing. Okay, so I'm going to write here one more method which is lower LOWER, lower bounded wildcard. This is the third type wildcard. What we can write? So public statics print number. Okay, and here we can pass list of the numbers. So but after that we have to write void also, and print numbers will take one list. Okay, and inside the list we can specify like question marks and super type. Super is a keyword and which is integer only. Super integer. Integer, why it's giving error I don't know, but let's see. And here we can give a list. Okay, problem is solved. But what we have to do is, they will give list of the numbers, so we have to use one for loop. Okay, we have to use one for loop, and with the help of the for each loop we can display all those data. So we have a data called here object type. Okay, or maybe we can say if it is lower integer, so maybe the next is upper bound is object only, so we can write obj no issue, and this is the list. Okay, and here we can easily print the object. Okay, obj. So this is the lower bounded wildcard we are using at the super. If we talk about the upper bounded wildcard, it will use the extend keyword. It means less than number, which is implementing the class we can pass here, which is extending the number, but here we can pass which is not extending the number, the super class of integers we can pass here. Okay, so let me pass those also, we can test. Okay, so I'm going to create here the what is the super class. So first we can pass the integer. So let me create one integers, because list integer we already have, so no need to create it. Let me paste here. This is the list of the integers, and what we can do is we can call print number, and we can pass this list, and let's see the output. But whatever the output we are printing here, let me comment those so that we can get it correct output in the console. Okay, so we have commented it, and we have called this method print numbers. Let's see what will happen. It's printed 1 2 3 4 5, correct. Now I'm going to create one more list. Okay, but list will contain number. What it will contain? It will contain number type object. Okay, and list name is 5. Okay, and here also number only, and we can pass print numbers, print data, not print numbers, and this is the list 5. Again I will refresh it. You can see same data it will print one more times. If I want to pass here object type, so I can just change here object, and it will accept, no issue. It will accept it, no issue. But if you pass here any sort type, sort type. So sort will not store, okay, because anyhow this value is integer, they will not store inside the sort and it will give the issue. So it means that what we have discussed, whatever the integer parent class we have, integer parent class, let me show you, okay. So if you see the integer parent class number, so it will support the numbers, comparable, chronological, whatever you can pass it will support, but it will not support lower than that class, okay. And here if you want to specify one more things, I will clear you, okay. If you want to give something like it will support integer also and it will implement some class also, so and you can write runnable, okay. So if you want to pass here any class name also, which is maybe the runnable or something, so you can pass it, okay, integer new runnable type, okay. So I think this will support at the class level only, not at the method level, I think, okay. Okay, let me give list, and here we have to specify end runnable class, RUNNABLE. So it's not supporting here, okay, but in the class level it will support. So you can provide a multiples here, you can implement other classes also, that is possible. Let me give here runnable, you're not supporting, okay. So at the class level if you give, that will support, okay, but in the method level it will not supporting, okay. If you see here in the previous video I have explained you while giving a class label, so that is the numbers, extending the numbers and end runnable, so we have given the runnable class, okay. So like that we have class print data, T will extend the number or maybe end runnable, it will support the runnables, and inside this you can write the method and you can print it, okay guys. So this is the lots of the things we can write, okay, in your code, and you can understood how it will work, okay. So in the like this level, in the class level super is not supporting, okay, only method level it will support and class level only extend it's supporting, okay. So this is the two differences you have to write down, okay. This is the only two differences you have to write down, guys. And here, so let me comment, it will not support basically, okay. So what is the conclusions we have discussed as of now, we can discuss, okay. So this is the super which can support in the method levels, extend also support in the class level also and method level also, and we can make class as extendable or what method as extendable also, okay. The final conclusion is using a wildcard generics can help to create a more flexible and reusable code. They are especially useful when writing a method that need to handle a different type of the collections, okay. So when you are writing any of the method, it will handle different type of the collection. When you want to ensure type safety without being specific, without the exact type, then you can go with the wildcard. Just remember that when using a unbounded wildcard, you can't add element to the collection except null, so that exact type is not unknown, okay. Thank you so much. I hope you understood the complete generic concept, and believe me, it's a very important. And one more things I will suggest you, don't fear to see TEKV, because it's a very simple things, okay. Thank you so much.